Going out, staying in, either way, you're earning cash back with Saver. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
You happen to love Britney Spears, is that
This
correct?
was a personal attack from Pat.
Yeah, so Pat is now trying to play songs to distract you, to get you off track.
It almost worked. Because I do love me some Britney Jean Spears.
The Dallas Cowboys are in the news. You don't say. But they're actually in the news, okay?
What now?
So Micah Parsons, their stud outside linebacker, defensive end, inside linebacker, defensive tackle, safety, podcaster, do everything, all-time great defensive player, spoke with Clarence Hill Jr., who's been covering the Cowboys since '97, All City in Dallas. And Micah Parsons had this quote, it's going to cost them more. This is about the contract extension. It's going to cost them more to have the Cowboys, have they messed up another negotiation? Has this approach cost them a chance to compete for a Super Bowl, right? So basically, what Micah and Clarence Hill are describing here is that because yet again they waited, it's going to cost them more. More in this case is you're looking at the Cleveland Browns, who signed, lack of a better way of saying it, their quarterback who plays defensive end, Myles Garrett, to a $40 million a year deal. Now, the Browns are in a little different spot than the Cowboys because ultimately they are doing everything in their power to get off of the money that they are paying Deshaun Watson. To our knowledge, the Dallas Cowboys are doing the exact opposite. They have no interest, nor should they, in getting off of the contract that is for their actual quarterback in Dak Prescott. So the Dallas Cowboys seemingly are taking an approach of let's have two quarterbacks on the team. And this is not the you have two so you have none. This is a let's pay two quarterbacks because now we're looking at a dollar figure for Micah Parsons. The longer this goes, it's going to cost them more. That's probably going to end up in the mid-40s, correct? If Myles Garrett is 40 and they waited and they could have gotten it done earlier, we talking mid-40s?
It will exceed that.
50?
No, I mean exceed 40.
Oh. So how do you build a team this way?
Hey, man. Let me tell you something. This deal is going to be a problem for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think this gets worked out as easy as Dak Prescott's extension or CeeDee Lamb's extension. Just because of what we've seen happen at the position this offseason and what we know will happen before the start of the season. So if the Dallas Cowboys took care of this right after season's end, the high water mark for defensive players would have been Nick Bosa at $34 million.
So let's call it 37.
Whatever it is. We saw Max Crosby get paid $35 million a year. We saw Myles Garrett give defensive players and edge rushers a quantum leap with his mega deal, $40 million a year. I'm just sitting here thinking about what TJ Watt is going to do at some point over the next several months. He's 30 years old, multiple Defensive Player of the Years, multiple sack titles, the heart and soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's going to be a huge, huge contract. No way that number, when it comes to average annual value, starts with a 3. That's going to start with a 4. And it could usurp what Myles Garrett got. I think Myles Garrett is the better player, but it's not about who's the better player, it's who signs the deal next.
It's about what the market dictates.
It's about what the market dictates. So that's where things are. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, how can you sit back and let all of these guys come through and reset the market? Max Crosby resets the market, then Myles Garrett resets the market, potentially TJ Watt resetting the market. Why are you waiting? The Dallas Cowboys, man, a day late and a dollar more every single time. And it's not about what it does to your salary cap this season, because I'm pretty sure whatever extension that they give Micah is going to knock this year's $24 million cap hit down, but it's what it does to your cap flexibility in future years. The Cowboys keep ringing up the credit card, not thinking that they're going to have to pay it off eventually, but those chickens are going to come home to roost. I understand that the cap goes up each and every year, but you've structured your contracts where those cap hits go up each and every year. And at some point, you're going to have to make difficult decisions. And the Dallas Cowboys are getting dangerously close to that point in this Micah Parsons deal because the delay could be the thing that puts them over the edge and closes their championship window with this core of players once and for all.
You know what's so confusing about it? Because we've seen them do this not once but twice with this group. We've seen them do it with CeeDee Lamb and his deal. We've seen them do it with Dak Prescott and his deal. And both of those times, we had this exact same discourse. Why are they waiting so long? It's going to cost them more. Don't you think if you've been in the same situation prior multiple times, that you would say, let's take a different approach. Let's save ourselves some money. If we want him to be here, let's not let all these guys reset the market, which is ultimately only going to cost us more, and the production is the same. I can't understand why they keep doing this themselves.
Yeah, I'm out on worrying about any of these contracts anymore. I'm going to tell you why. Not talking about it, worrying about it. There's a difference. Every single one of these always gets done. And every one of them gets done. And then every team that has this, inevitably, does not achieve what they want to achieve. Because if you are at a point where you are letting this drag on, or there is such a massive debate about the value, Ray Hendrickson, for example, in Cincinnati. Dallas does this on purpose to increase the number of conversations around the reality show that they program. Did the Eagles have a lot of holdouts last year?
No.
Did the Chiefs have a lot of holdouts last year? Do we remember a ton of Ravens holdouts?
The only Chiefs holdout that I can remember was Chris Jones.
Week 1,
Yeah,
Lions.
week 1
He
against
sat
the
out and they
Lions.
won. Remember
Okay.
that the Lions won the game.
The Lions won that game. That was
significant. That was significant. But remember
Yeah,
where
but
he was?
they got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
That's right.
Arguably the best quarterback.
And didn't they win the Super Bowl that year?
They won the
Yes.
Super Bowl that year.
What did it matter?
And he was in the suite with the members of the organization.
Right.
And you know what else? They didn't have the reigning defending world champions in their same division.
So let's keep going. The Bills have a little bit of a contract issue with James Cook. Have we talked about that at all? Yeah, the good teams know how to figure these things out where it's not dramatic. And think about the teams we just mentioned. The Dallas Cowboys are not playing the same sport as the other 31 teams. Their goal is to run the best business possible, and they do. They are Super Bowl champions at running the best business possible. This actually allows them to contribute to their version of winning, which is the reality show, which is the drama, which is the business of the Cowboys. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who I've loved forever in terms of the respect game, not fandom, but respect, are no longer the organization that they once were, and they're trying to build themselves back up to that. The Cincinnati Bengals are a disaster in terms of contract negotiations. Sorry to our great station, 1530 DJ Hodge and Company in Cincy, but let's be honest. You have your first-round pick who's not there, and he's supposed to replace a guy that you weren't going to pay, and he can't replace that guy because he's not there, and neither is Hendrickson. None of these teams, when it's all said and done, will matter. You think we'll be talking about any of these three teams in January? Any of these three teams? You just brought up TJ Watt, Steelers.
No.
This conversation started with Micah Parsons, and it inevitably ties into the Bengals.
No.
What happened to the Niners last year, who had all this contract stuff? Disaster by the end of the year. They're quiet. Maybe they're heading in the right direction. If you don't get it, this is the thing with football, the NFL, not football. If you don't get it done early, you're just not going to get it done. You may sign the contract, you're not going to get the job done.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
That's
If
a
you
good
don't
point.
get it done early, you're not going to get the job done.
We understate how disruptive these contract negotiations are when it comes to developing the requisite chemistry that every team needs in order to have success at a championship level. Everybody coming into a given season thinks that they're going to win the chip. The reality is only 6 to 8 teams have a real shot. And you disqualify yourself by allowing it to be noisy with something that's seemingly controllable with the front office, which is taking care of your guys. With the Micah Parsons contract, like Evan said, the deal is going to get done.
Yeah, it's going to get
But are the Cowboys going to be able to get it done?
No.
Likely not. And I'm just sitting here thinking about what it could have been for the Dallas Cowboys having this put to bed at the beginning of the offseason. There is no question whether or not you want a guy like Micah Parsons around. He's 26 years old and in the conversation for best defensive player in the NFL every single year. There's not a position on the Dallas Cowboys defense that Micah Parsons can't play at a higher level than anybody else on that team.
Maybe offense.
And maybe offense
Yeah.
too. If you want Micah Parsons to play defensive tackle, he can do that. Edge rusher, he can do that. Nickel, he can do that. Safety, he can do that. Off the ball linebacker, he's done that. There's not a position on that defense that anybody on that team plays better or at a higher level than Micah Parsons. no doubt you want that guy around. Why would you not pay him when it was cheaper? You could have paid him $37 million a year and come in $4 or $5 million under market based on where we expect edge rushers to go with the remainder of the offseason. But you didn't do that.
Yeah, but they did do Greek dancing.
That is true. They did take everybody. Maybe Micah was belly dancing.
Right.
All right, now let's go over the contractual issues that we have in Baltimore, Houston, Denver, Kansas City, the LA Chargers, the Commanders, the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, the Tampa Bay Bucks, and the Rams. Now that we're done with that, those will be your contenders this year in the NFL. Light up the night with Glow Motion with 5 Hour Energy. The
Glow
all-new
Motion.